Hey, it's Alyssa from the Medical Professional Dojo, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about training and onboarding staff members in your practice. I used to work in a medically integrated practice. I'm actually also used to manage a practice. And when I first started, I started as an intern actually in the rehab area. So I was an unpaid intern, had to do it for college credit, right? And so the training with that was like, it was here and there, right? Their current rehab tech just kind of showed me, the ins and outs of what to do, setting patients up on equipment, the patient charts, how to file and how to do the notes and the doc, all of the things, right? But as an intern, and I was just there a couple days a week, so there was no like real written training. So once my internship hours were over, I was blessed to be hired to stay on to the team. And at that point, I really got a little bit more in depth training because, of course, they were paying me, right? And so I got some really awesome in depth training, and it was all written check sheets. Once I mastered that position, I was moved into the weight loss coaching and sales position, which of course was totally different. And I had some sales experience, but not really a lot, and not certainly to that extent where I'm selling thousands of dollars of a package for a patient. So I definitely got some training there. And again, all written check sheets, right? So, like certain benchmarks that I had to meet in order to go on to the next training material, to go on to, actually doing the sales with the patients, right? Not just the consults, not just the treatments. And from there, then, once I hit certain KPIs and numbers, then I was moved into the entire phys med case management, where then I was consulting and selling packages for chiropractic care and regenerative medicine and home neuropathy equipment. And those packages were, of course, a lot higher ticket. I mean, upwards of, with regenerative medicine, right, that could be $20,000, standard being at least $3,500 plus. So with that, there's a lot of training required, right? Like you can't just step into that without training, especially if that person is not familiar with neuropathy, infrared light therapy, spinal decompression, chiropractic care, regenerative medicine, stem cell, PRP, IV therapy, PIR diabetes treatment, like you name it. We did a lot of stuff, mild hyperbaric chamber. So like you had to know your stuff if you're going to be in that position, which means you had to have amazing training. So then when I moved to the other clinic's location into management, really had to make sure that anybody I brought on, I'm responsible really for their training. And so having those check sheets that were there available to me to be able to then train my new hires was amazing. And it was amazing for the new hires. And I know because I was there and I did it, right? So going through that check sheet is amazing for both the manager and the staff member that you're bringing onto the team, because it gives you benchmarks, it gives very specific points of training. It sets the expectation, right? That person that you're hiring, that you're training, they know the needs and wants of the company and the position now because it's written down. If it's not written, it's not true. That's something that we like to say at MedPro Dojo. If it's not written, it's not true, right? So it needs to be written down, it needs to be documented. We keep it all on the Google Drive, is what we use. There's Microsoft, there's lots of different formats that you can keep track of this information. Google Drive is great, right? So that's what we use. It's a live edit document so that if more than one person is responsible for the training of this individual, everybody's on the same page constantly about where they're at in their training. You can make notes, you can make updates, you can share it with people. It is awesome. These live training documents are also great from the standpoint of HR and just kind of covering your back, right? Like I'm not giving you legal advice here for HR. I'm just telling you that you do want to make sure that you have documentation that this person was trained. That way later they can't come back and say, well, you never trained me, right? Like, no, you signed off on all of these points for your position that you were trained. You signed it, manager signed it, we're good, you got trained, right? And so it's just really great tool to have, no matter if you're the business owner, you're the manager, the trainer, or the new hire yourself, right? It's an amazing tool. And I just can't stress it enough how much you need to have these in your clinic. So if you're sitting here watching this and you're like, oh my God, I don't have that. What do I do? I don't have that crap, right? Like, don't panic. It's okay. We certainly have templates for all of the different positions in the office, from the front desk, the medical assistant, the rehab tech, to the manager, the chiropractor, the nurse practitioner that you hire, right? Your management. So we can certainly provide you with these forms. We're more than happy to. We can provide you with a course that teaches you how to build out your forms, what needs to be included, everything from the beginning to the end. And from the beginning, I mean like your job ad. Like, what does your job ad say? What does your job description say? What is happening during your interviews for this person? Is the expectation being set there? And then once you hire them, the way that you onboard them is the way that you're going to keep them, right? If the expectation is set during onboarding and hiring processes, now they know throughout the rest of their employment what standards they're going to be held to, what the expectations are, and really how they can be successful, because they're going to want to show up and be productive and feel successful. And if you don't have these benchmarks, they're not really going to know what they're being judged on. They're not going to know how they're doing, and that's not a good way to have great company culture, right? You want to make sure that your team feels confident, that they're feeling successful in what they're doing and how they're treating patients. And so, like I said, we have lots of resources, from a full HR course to just the documents themselves, whether it be the job descriptions, the training check sheets, or once they're onboarded, their day-to-day checklist on key points that need to get accomplished each day for true success. So Alyssa from MedPro Dojo here, sharing some tips, and make sure you follow for even more.